Speak No Evil is a psychological horror thriller that masterfully plays with the discomfort of social niceties gone terribly wrong. In this video, we'll break down the film's exploration of dread, manipulation, and the horrifying consequences of ignoring gut instincts, along with its commentary on modern societal pressures.
No, yeah, sure.
Superb, superb.
One of the most terrifying aspects of Speak No Evil is how it frames politeness and civility as a death sentence. Throughout the film, Ben and Louise continually suppress their discomfort in favor of maintaining social harmony. This reflects a broader societal expectation. We are trained to prioritize manners and appearances even when our instincts tell us something is terribly wrong. The psychological horror lies in the subtle moments where the Daltons' hesitations become a form of complicity. They excuse their host's increasingly bizarre behavior because to speak out or leave would be seen as impolite or overreactive. For example, when Patty ridicules Louise's vegetarianism or when the Daltons find Agnes in bed with their hosts, there's always this hesitation, a pause where they weigh the discomfort of confrontation against the looming threat. This reluctance is key to the horror. The film suggests that evil often thrives not because it is powerful, but because we allow it to persist through inaction, through our fear of being rude, awkward, or misunderstood. The Daltons' failure to act becomes a metaphor for how we, as a society, are often trapped by the fear of judgment. Speak No Evil explores this tension masterfully, showing how deadly the consequences can be when we prioritize others' perceptions over our own safety.
You remember our agreement. Hoppy gets his own room before Christmas. You're almost 12 years old.
The stuffed bunny, Hoppy, that Agnes carries around is more than just a child's toy. It symbolizes innocence, comfort, and a desperate need for stability in an unstable world. Hoppy is Agnes's security blanket, a defense against the chaos she intuitively feels around her. The bunny's presence represents her need for emotional safety in an environment where nothing seems safe. The act of leaving Hoppy behind when they try to flee serves as a pivotal moment. It forces the family to return to the house, symbolizing how we are often unable to escape from the things that bind us emotionally, even if they seem trivial on the surface. This act becomes a tragic metaphor for how we are drawn back into dangerous situations because of attachments, even when every instinct tells us to run. By the film's end, Agnes giving Hoppy to Aunt signals a profound shift. She transfers her symbol of comfort to someone who needs it more, someone who has been more deeply scarred than she has. This act is both heartbreaking and transformative, representing not just the loss of innocence but a recognition of shared trauma. It's a rare moment of compassion and human connection in a film that otherwise thrives on cruelty and detachment.
We're gonna leave. You just need to stay calm.
How can I stay calm?
Throughout the film, the Daltons believe that if they can just get through certain uncomfortable moments, they will regain control. This illusion of control is shattered repeatedly as Patty and Sierra expertly manipulate their guests. The passive-aggressive behavior of the hosts is a brilliant psychological tool. It keeps the Daltons on edge, but never gives them enough reason to fully rebel or leave. For example, Patty's mockery of Ben's unemployment and the way Sierra comments on Louise's perceived infidelity are carefully calculated to destabilize the couple's already fragile dynamic. It's not just about hospitality being violated. Patty and Sierra are breaking down the Daltons emotionally, stripping away their sense of control. By constantly challenging their guests' values, behaviors, and boundaries, they erode the family's defenses. This erosion is crucial to the film's horror. The Daltons lose the ability to act decisively because they've been psychologically broken down over time. This mirrors real-world situations where people find themselves trapped in toxic or abusive environments. The abuser doesn't strike all at once. They chip away at their target's confidence and sense of reality, making them doubt their own instincts. In Speak No Evil, the horror is not just the physical danger but the slow dismantling of the Daltons' ability to protect themselves and their daughter.
Eat your green, sweetheart. And Agnes?
We don't chew with our mouths open.
Gorgonzola, camembert, Emmental, you can keep it.
One of the most poignant themes in the film is the role of parenting under siege. The Daltons' struggle is amplified by their responsibility to protect Agnes, who becomes a silent witness to the horrors around her. Throughout the film, Louise and Ben's attempts to shield their daughter from the increasing strangeness of Patty and Sierra become futile. Their failure to leave early is not just a failure of instinct but a failure to protect their child, a burden that weighs heavily on both parents. The moment Louise finds Agnes in bed with Patty and Sierra is one of the most horrifying scenes, not just because of the potential threat to Agnes, but because of what it represents: the complete loss of parental control. Louise's realization that she has exposed her daughter to this threat is a nightmare scenario for any parent. It's a moment of pure helplessness, where the boundaries they've tried to maintain are completely violated. This theme of parental responsibility is heightened by the character of Ant, who is revealed to be a victim himself. His tragic arc mirrors the Daltons' fears for their daughter. Ant's parents failed to protect him, and now he is doomed to repeat their fate by becoming an accomplice to Patty and Sierra's crimes. His inability to speak due to his tongue being cut out becomes a chilling symbol of parental failure. His voice was literally stolen from him. The Daltons, too, risk losing their daughter to this same fate, and the film's tension derives from whether they will be able to break the cycle in time. Ant is perhaps the film's most tragic figure. His inability to speak serves as a metaphor for the silencing of trauma victims, those whose voices are taken from them by those in power. He is complicit in Patty and Sierra's crimes, but only because he has been forced into submission. His role in the story is complex. He is both a victim and a tool used by his captors to lure other families to their deaths. The final scene where Ant kills Patty with a brick is cathartic but deeply unsettling. It is a release of years of built-up anger and trauma, but it also signals the complete destruction of Ant's childhood innocence. His violent outburst represents the brutal transformation of a child into something broken, something irreparable. Ant's character also serves as a warning to the Daltons. What could happen to Agnes if they don't escape? His role as a silent witness, someone who has been silenced both literally and metaphorically, shows the devastating impact of prolonged exposure to violence and manipulation.
Do you think these have been washed? Oh, maybe we should say something.
No, honey, that is an old stain. Look, we're in the country, all right? Our normal isn't their normal. They're just a bit more, I don't know, unvarnished.
The isolated farmhouse in Devon acts as an additional character in the film, embodying the claustrophobic, inescapable sense of dread that permeates the story. Its remote location emphasizes the Daltons' vulnerability. They are cut off from society, from help, and from any sense of normalcy. It's a physical manifestation of their psychological entrapment. The farmhouse, with its locked sheds and hidden secrets, becomes a metaphor for the layers of deception that Patty and Sierra have built. It's a place where evil lurks just beneath the surface, masked by the facade of country hospitality. The shed full of belongings from previous victims is a chilling revelation, not just of Patty and Sierra's crimes, but of the cyclical nature of the horror. They've done this before, and they'll do it again. At its core, Speak No Evil is not just a horror film about a psychopathic couple terrorizing an unsuspecting family. It's a psychological examination of how fear of judgment, politeness, and societal norms can be manipulated to devastating ends. The real terror comes from how easily we can be trapped by our own passivity, our unwillingness to act in the face of discomfort. The film asks difficult questions about human nature. When do we stop being polite? When do we stop giving people the benefit of the doubt? And what happens when our desire to be good guests, good friends, or good parents leads us into the very jaws of danger? Ultimately, Speak No Evil leaves us with a haunting message. Sometimes, the scariest monsters are the ones who smile, offer hospitality, and lull us into a false sense of security, while waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.